What's going on YouTube? It's your man Grill Guru here. You're watching Who Wants to Smoke Gourmet Grill. And today, we're cooking up these steaks. Now, when you're cooking steak, first things first, really when you're cooking any meat, the quality, all right? And by quality, I really mean the source. Make sure you have a trusted source to get your meat from. My recommendation, find a local farm, go to a farmer's market, go to your Harris Teeter Whole Foods. They always carry local food, local meats from farms in the area. Make sure you get quality meat. Shout out to Baldwin Beef and shout out to Holden Farms out here in the Piedmont area of North Carolina. So today, we'll be grilling a ribeye and a T-bone. Now the ribeye is a cut from the rib section of the cow. Typically it has a rib bone attached. This is a boneless ribeye. And the T-bone is a cut out of the short loin of the cow, all right? And you can see two pieces of meat here. This is actually the vertebrae of the back of the cow. And here you have a cut of the short loin called the strip steak. You probably know it as the New York strip. And on this side we have the filet steak, otherwise known as the filet mignon. So the filet mignon is a piece of the tenderloin portion of the cow next to the short loin, and it's the most tender portion of the cow. Now in order to season these, we're going to use my typical blend. Nothing signature to it. All you're going to do is take 2 parts salt, 1 part pepper, and 1 part garlic powder. That's all you need, really. The flavor of the beef doesn't need to be oversaturated with too many things. Maybe you'll add in some onion powder to it. Maybe you want to add a herb as well. For me, this is how I like my steaks, and it gives you the best flavor on the grill. So we're going to take our seasoning here, and we're not going to be cautious here. We're going to be very generous. Make sure we get a good coating on these steaks. And once we've got a good coating, we want to massage it in. All right, we want to make sure that we're showing these steaks some love here. Yeah, just like that. Nice coating on those steaks. Make sure you get the edges as well. Something I also want to point out here, on this edge of the New York strip, you see this lining of fat here. We're going to make sure that we render this when we grill it. And in order to do that, we'll actually lay it on its side. And I'll show you that technique once we get out to the grill. Continuing to massage here, make sure we're getting on. And you see this really great marbleization here in the beef. Ribeye is actually my favorite cut. That's the most flavorful cut to me of the cow. Now some people may prefer to trim here. You see there's a good amount of fat here. So maybe you do want to trim that off. Me, I like to keep it on, and I'll render it off when I grill. So while I'm seasoning, I do want to point out some do-nots. You'll see a lot of people take knives and they'll jab at the meat to poke holes and think that that's allowing them to insert a lot of good seasoning. Do not do that, please. Do not butcher the meat in that way. What you end up doing is drying the meat out, all right? Not instantly, but after you've cooked it and you pull it off the grill, your meat becomes tough and dry because you've poked all those holes out. It no longer will retain all those nice juices that you've cooked on the meat. So please, please do not puncture your meat. Even when you're pulling it off or flipping it over, don't use a fork, all right? Don't puncture the meat. You want it to keep steady, keep whole. And we'll just use tongs. We'll use tongs to flip the meat, pull it off. All right, so those look great. And that's it. You're ready for the grill now.
I've already got the grill ready to go here. If you aren't sure what that entails, check out my Grilling 101 video on my channel. For steaks and other red meat, burgers, or hot dogs, you want a really hot grill. So raise your heat source to about 1 inch below the grates. And make sure your dampers are wide open for maximum airflow. Also, wet meat doesn't get a nice sear on the grill for those beautiful grill marks, so be sure to pat your steaks dry before they're put on the grill.
Alright y'all, let's talk about temperature so that you know how long you need to cook your steak. Really, I'm not going to give you any timing. I want you to probe the steak and that'll let you know when your steak is done, alright? There's a good rule that I learned online. Shout out to Gordon Ramsay. Chef Gordon Ramsay was good. He told me about the finger rule. So you got, your hand, you'll touch your index to your thumb, and that toughness here, that's equated with a rare steak, all right? Once you poke the meat and it feels about that same type of toughness, that's what you would equate with a rare. Your middle finger to your thumb, that's a mid-rare, all right? Ring finger to your thumb, that's a medium, and your pinky to the thumb, pretty tough there, that's a well-done steak.
It's been about 5 or 6 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and flip the steaks. You can tell it's time once the bottom edges start to round, showing they've been nicely seared. Don't be worried if you see a flame. For cuts like these, that just means more flavor. If it's out of hand, you can close the lower damper just as you saw me do there. We won't need to keep flipping back and forth. We can actually leave it like this until our ideal temperature is reached. I like a medium to medium rare steak, but we'll render the fat before it gets there because the steak's going to continue to cook during this process. So to render the fat, we're just going to hit the sides for a minute or so while the grill is super hot, just like you see here. All right, look at that. They're off the grill. Now we just let them rest. We're gonna let them rest for about 10 minutes, and then I'll show you how to properly slice these bad boys.
Steaks have rested, good 10 minutes. Now we're gonna slice them up. Now when you slice up your meat, make sure that you're cutting against the grain. Now in a marbleized meat like this, it's kind of difficult to see where the grain is, but you can kind of see it here. The grain's running in this fashion here. It kind of circles in that fashion. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect medium rare. Look how delicious that is. Oh.
That's beautiful. Perfectly cut ribeye and a presentation cut T-bone, ready for any dinner party or just to eat right now. But this is Who Want to Smoke Gourmet Grill. So how about topping it with a hearty chimichurri sauce next to some roasted cinnamon sweet potatoes? I wonder what Chef Ramsay would think of that. Thank you for watching Who Wants to Smoke Gourmet Grill. Don't forget to subscribe and click that like button below if you like the content. Until next time.